It is very, very exciting to be here among a group of people who are all so dedicated to the idea of hybrid learning and learning differences and child-led education. I'm very, very looking forward to spending the whole weekend full of people who have the same passions that I do, and I'm glad to be here. I believe that many of us here understand that the public education model in many ways does not need to be renewed and needs some checks and balances. My business partner and I are working within a new model, and I wanted to share this model with you. So my business partner Anna Smith and I were the co-founder and the co-owners of a model called Urban Homeschoolers in Los Angeles. I'll tell you how we got started. Anna and I have both been homeschooling our kids since they started their schools, so our oldest are 19 and both in college now. We've both been involved in the same co-op, and that worked well for a while. It was good. And as our oldest children grew into teens, we realized we were looking for more academic sorts of classes, but nothing that was based in tests or grades, things that challenged them, but also mentors to serve, to help them facilitate their interests. The co-op that we were a part of wasn't interested, but we knew that there must be some other families who were, and so we started Urban Homeschoolers. Our first semester we had 12 kids. 5 of those kids were our own. But that was 6 years ago, and as we start our 7th year of enrollment, we predict we'll have between 130 and 140 students. Thank you. We currently have 2 campuses, and these campuses are very different from each other. At Atwater campus, which is here, we call it our a la carte or our College for Kids method. We hold classes there 4 days a week, and several classes run at the same time. Both core subjects, and all of them are taught in cooperative and engaging sorts of ways, and also music and theater and the arts. We don't have a yearly tuition. Every child signs up for only the classes that they're interested in. We're offering 71 different classes this semester at Atwater with 16 different teachers. Our Westchester campus, across town, is a very different model. It's 2 days a week, all day long. It's a Waldorf-influenced program with a team of teachers who have years of Waldorf training, but decided to leave the Waldorf paradigm because of some of the limitations. It's a holistic approach to teaching in the Waldorf way, but with a real emphasis on collaboration and exploration, and with teachers and students co-creating their days together. No matter which campus you're at Urban Homeschoolers, we have a commitment to offering classes that allow children to strive for authentic learning. We don't give grades, we don't adhere to state standards or curriculum, we don't place children in classes based on their age or their birth date. We encourage our teachers to be very flexible, to throw out a curriculum if it's not working, even if you had it planned, to stop a lesson plan that day if your 6 and 7 and 8 and 9-year-olds can't be still, and to take outdoors, all of the education that we can whenever possible. Because we're working within a homeschooling structure, automatically several things are very different. With homeschooling, the parents and their children are in charge of education. Parents and their children make all the decisions about how to learn and when to learn and what to learn. And also parents are in charge of the legal umbrella that they homeschool under. What that means for us at Urban Homeschoolers is that we are not a school. We are an educational resource center with on-site classes to offer to children. This creates a paradigm where parents and kids can pick classes from within what we offer, and they don't have to buy in or opt in completely. We have kids who take classes every single day. Every day we're open all day long. We have other kids who come and just take 1 or 2 classes because we offer a class that sounds interesting to them, or they really love a teacher, or they have a gap that they want to fill. This is an interesting model. It allows for a lot of freedom, but there's also more parental responsibility than most school models. Our classes are taught by both teachers and also experts in their field. Since we're in Los Angeles, we have an amazing pool of talent to choose from. One of our teachers, for instance, taught in the Waldorf school system for many years, and then decided to leave that system to come to a much more homeschooling sort of paradigm while teaching that Waldorf holistic way. Another of our teachers is also a professor at the Otis of College Arts and Designs in Los Angeles, and is a working artist who is in galleries all over LA. Another of our teachers she's got advanced degrees in both biology and art, and she's a sculptor. We often create classes in partnership with these amazing teachers, and many of our most exciting and out-of-the-box classes have been the brainchild of teachers, based on both what they see our population of children needing and also what's interesting for these people to teach about. Here's an example of some of my favorite classes. In OMG, Philosophical Exploration, we offered this class last year, and it was a brainchild between a Buddhist, practicing Buddhist who lives at the Zen Center in LA and a Christian minister. The premise of this class for high schoolers was to give everyone in the class a basis of knowledge of all different kinds of religions so that they could walk into any situation with anyone of any faith and speak with clarity and with respect. And the respectful dialogue that these two teachers had within the classroom about their beliefs and the beliefs of other religions was an extraordinary thing to see. The end of the year project was for each kid to go out into their community and attend a worship service of one of the religions that made them a little bit nervous, and then come in and talk to the class about it. Mara for President is another amazing class we had last fall, back when we were all still not tired of politics quite so much, and there was a presidential campaign coming up. Our teacher, Mara, registered to run for president as an independent in California, and then her class ran her campaign. They learned everything they could about how to run a campaign, and they all got their different jobs, and they ran the campaign all year long. And then at the end, they all decided what delegates to throw to the next person who might win. Mara didn't win, by the way. Another example of how student-led our classes can be is a story I love called our social action class. About 3 years ago, our social action class decided to go to the LA, one of our beaches, and do a beach cleanup. While they were there, they found a baby seal that was in distress. They figured out who to call. It's the Pacific Marine Mammal Center. They called the center. The guy came out. He explained about how seals are rehabilitated. And then he told them that for whatever reason, that year was one of the record-breaking years for baby seals needing rescue. So the Social Action Club decided to throw all the plans they had for the semester out the window. And they set about to raising money for baby seals. So they fundraised in all sorts of ways that they brainstormed themselves, both within urban homeschoolers and throughout our larger homeschooling community, of which there are several thousand in Southern California. And at the end of that semester, they'd raised enough money to rehabilitate one baby seal. So they took a big field trip down to the center, and they learned all about how it happened, and then they gave him a check. I love that story. This is again a great example of how student-led our classes are. We charge every one of our teachers with coming into a class at the beginning of the semester and setting about to get to know those students in that classroom. What are their needs? What are their interests? Where are their gaps, both socially, academically, emotionally? And then tailoring that curriculum to what they need and what they want. We also make it a point of interacting with our larger Los Angeles community at every opportunity we can. I told you about our social action class and what they did a few years ago. They've also done LA river cleanups. They've volunteered at homeless shelters. We actually are in partnership with a homeless shelter, a food pantry there. And they've raised money to give to a foster community that specializes in fostering severely medically disabled kids. Another example of how we try to just go all over Los Angeles is our transit workshop, which has been so popular we've had it twice a couple of different years, where teens spend the summer traveling all over LA on trains and buses and subways and bicycles, just going over this vast, huge city, learning so much more than they could in a room, and gaining a measure of freedom that they might not have otherwise, and learning so much about the history of our city and about the culture. Our earth science class, a couple of years ago when we had a really rainy spring, walked down to the LA River every single day to see how far the rushes had grown and watch the caterpillar pods come to life. As I've said, in Atwater Village, we're still there, we offer several classes for each age, and every time slot throughout the day has a lot of classes. So children choose what subjects they're interested in. All of our classes are a village school model, so there are many different age groups in a classroom. We don't grade by age, we don't group by age, but we group by ability. The ability is social, emotional, and academic as well. Because of our small class sizes and our attention to individuals and the flexibility with our curriculum, we're able to meet children where they are as much as we possibly can. We're able to allow kids to thrive no matter what situation they're in, whether they're on the spectrum or they're asynchronous learners or they're highly gifted or they're just neurotypical everyday kids. They all come together at Urban Homeschoolers. I want to tell you a story about Liam. When Liam came to us, he was 8. Liam is autistic, and at the time he came to us, he was nonverbal. We sat down with Liam's mom and we made a plan. He was interested in some classes that we offered. So he was going to be in the classroom, and his mom was going to be in the back of the classroom. But he wasn't going to do anything he didn't feel comfortable with. For Liam, his journey at that point was just learning how to be in a room with other kids, in a learning environment, which Liam really wanted. He had a great time that first semester with 2 classes, and so the next semester he just took the exact same classes over again, which happens a lot at Urban Homeschoolers. Our teachers teach things in such different ways that our kids take, my daughter took the sacred art of geometry for 3 semesters straight, and it was different every time. Liam's been with us for 2.5 years now. His mom is out of the classroom. He's not going to be a chatterbox, but he is very involved in every class, and kids know exactly what sorts of things they can turn to Liam on for him to speak with a lot of authority and a lot of understanding of the material, and he's really well accepted among his classmates. Liam joined our rock band class 2 years ago. He plays piano, and now he's in the rock band that was made out of the rock band class. They write their own songs, they're touring all over Los Angeles, and they're between the ages of 11 and 14. There they are. I'll tell you about Lily now. She's a very, very, very different student. Lily really wanted to homeschool, and she tried to talk her mom into homeschooling, and when her mom found Urban Homeschoolers, she thought maybe it would work for her. So Lily came to us just out of elementary school, really wanting to make a better use of her time than she was able to make before. She spent all of her middle school years with us. She participated in every event we had and every field trip, and she really got the most out of her classes and made huge connections with our mentors and teachers. And at the end of the middle school years, she decided she wanted to go back into the system. So she applied for several very elite private high schools in Los Angeles. She got accepted into a few, and now Lily is at an all-girls private preparatory school in LA, in high school, and she's doing really, really well. And this is really good news for Lily because this was her choice. I've lost my, hold on, I've lost my page, you guys. There it is. Now Zeke. Zeke is 14. Zeke is very quiet, and you will never see him without his beanie. I bet you can tell which one Zeke is. He's very athletic. He thrives in the great outdoors. It is a joy to watch him mentor smaller children on our camping trips. When Zeke came to us, he was pretty shut down. He was having some anxiety issues in his middle school, and his parents decided to pull him out and let him get his feet out from under him, and see if he couldn't get himself together and go back to school. So Zeke was with us for a couple of years, and while he's been at Urban Homeschoolers, he's found his tribe. And so when it was time to go back into his high school private school, he went to his parents and they had a talk. And his parents came to us and said that they decided that homeschooling was the right place for Zeke. And so he's not going to go back into school. This is really, really working for him, and he's happy. Urban Homeschoolers has been in business for 7 years now. And in that time, we've seen the customer change that we're serving. 7 years ago, it was almost all lifelong learners who were homeschoolers and had drunk the same Kool-Aid that Anna and I did when we started. More and more the last several years, we've seen a lot of families pulling their children out of public school to come into homeschooling. And part of that is because it's become more and more normalized in Los Angeles, and part of it's because people who are doing what we are doing are allowing parents to see a way that they might be able to homeschool that they didn't see a way how to do that before. In the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of private school kids coming to Urban Homeschoolers after their parents are pulling them out of private school. These are different paradigms that we're working with, but our clientele are definitely changing. What's also changing in the last several years in California homeschooling charter schools, the charter schools have a willingness to look at what authentic learning looks like in a way that they haven't been before. Anna and I have been pushing this forward. It's been part of our mission. We're in constant conversations with all of the major charter schools that we serve, talking about what authentic learning looks like and how teaching doesn't have to be in the same box that they might have in their public schools. We're walking the line constantly between the student-led sorts of classes that we feel so strongly about and the curriculum that the public school is compelled to follow because of state standards. We're making real progress. For the last several years, homeschooling charters in California have been much, much more willing to open up and think clearly about what it means to be educated as an elementary school and a middle schooler. And if they're seeing progress that they're happy about, they don't mind the methods, which is a really great thing. We can do our thing. And in the last just several years, in the last few years, actually high schoolers in charter schools are beginning to do the same. Anna and I do a lot of talking to the people in charge of high school programs at charters, and they're really beginning to come around. We have 2 new programs out of our 7 charter schools that we serve, that it's become a very child-led model even for high school. And so what that means, of course, is that parents who have chosen to charter school, they get that public funding to help them homeschool their children, help them alternatively learn and learner-led their children. And that's allowing families who might not be able to send their kids to private schools and might not be able to quite figure out how they could make this work in other ways. It really, really helps with the bottom line. And it's helping really grow the population of learner-led families in Southern California. Urban Homeschoolers is a new model. And growing from a group of a small little pile of kids that I knew every name to a couple of campuses and a lot of support staff has been hard. Anyone who's started a school in this room knows it's hard. Of course, the work that Anna and I are doing, focusing on children and supporting their teachers and meeting kids where they are in small classroom environments, must be supported both financially and logistically. And Anna and I and our team have been working on that a lot for the last several months. Our financial model is, of course, very unusual. We're working with both public funding through charter schools and dealing with POs, and also private funding for parents who are putting their kids through classes and all the things they're doing on their own dime. We have about 40-60 this year. It always runs around 50-50, 40-60. This requires a back office system that's not available on the marketplace right now that I can find. If you know one, let me know. One of the things we're focusing on is creating a back office system of our own. We're also very focused on facilitating very good communication between teacher, mentor, and parent and student. And so the student, mentor, teacher, parent trio is very important. We've instituted Moodle into our curriculum, which I'm sure most of you know. Moodle is an online management classroom software that a lot of colleges all over the country use. Among our team is an ex-program manager for Microsoft who is in charge of internal and external education. And she's helping us implement infrastructures to support seamless teamwork and communications among all of our sites as we grow. Our ultimate goal is to build and expand this hybrid model, and we hope to create a strong back office system, an easy to manage dynamic website, and a small group of carefully chosen launching pad curriculums that can be then implemented with other things as well, that can be put into communities in ways that really reflect their personal culture. We're hoping to attract angel investors as well to help us put this model into communities that might not be able to support it 100% financially. This conference poses two questions. I think they're tricky ones, Jerry. Could learner-centered education be available for all? Is it possible to create societies without schooling as we have known it? Yes, I think it's possible. It's not going to happen overnight. Through Urban Homeschoolers, Anna and I, and our team, and our teachers, we offer support and guidance and a community to parents who did not ever think that they could homeschool. Anna gets phone calls every day from panicked parents, desperate parents, baffled parents who know that the situation their child in is not working, and they're looking for something better for their child. And every day, through this homeschooling hybrid model, we are making learner-centered education more available in our little corner of the world. We are watching as kids blossom and as they thrive at Urban Homeschoolers. And it really is a dream come true. Thank you for being here. And thank you for letting me tell you about our passion. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I expect to learn a lot. I expect to get very excited and very tired. And Anna and I hope to meet every single one of you.